As Thomas Edison said, 99% perspiration and 1% inspiration.
This boot's been around from day one. Essentially, I've been doing it for 25 years, and this boot was there basically when I started in the early 80s.
We actually went back and recreated every part several times using old materials, new materials.
You know, I have people that know that I have skiing these boots and they're asking me for parts, you know, and I have some, I'll hook them up.
And to find this boot and to have the opportunity to bring this boot back into the marketplace with the names that have skied this boot in the past and the names that are still skiing it, basically it's an iconic boot. There's a cult following to this boot all over North America, and as we're finding out, all over the world. The
aerialist guys, they're like, just like me, holding on to these boots forever, man.
And then they have these young Olympic competitors trying to buy the boot on eBay of all things. I mean, it's amazing.
Even the old worn out stuff I keep in plastic bags.
And the second year, it just took off. We were selling 300,000 and 400,000 pair of boots a year.
Pretty much, without this boot, I couldn't do what I'm doing.
It was like this and remained like this for 25 years or so because the damn thing worked. The liner is better. The liner is thicker. There's more adaptability to that liner than the old original liners.
The liner itself, the physical liner that you step into right out of the box, is physically molded, heat molded into the shell. Nobody else does that. The liner is a custom fit liner. It's super easy to get in and out of, but it's also the warmest and the most comfortable fit you'll ever get.
The foams that we're using is a multi-laminate foam, and so it goes softer to harder. And that's a big deal when you're loading it because you want the hardness of the plastic on the outside and you want to be able to squeeze it. And you can see how the open cell deforms first, then the soft, then the hard, and then the hardest foam. And that allows you to really get the performance driven through the boot and transferred immediately to the ski and not lost into the boot.
Right off the shelf or right out of the box, you know, you pretty much got a custom fit liner. All you have to do is heat mold it and you're ready to go. Like I said, it wraps around every little imperfection in your foot, every little imperfection inside the boot, and it's you know, included in the price rather than paying the extra $300 or $400 to get that custom fit.
Two of our engineers worked directly for NASA, and with their collaboration we came up with the concept of a movable distortion-free joint with corrugations.
When you're flexing forward, it gives a spot for the boot to deflect into. A material has to have a place to move to.
For example, if you have a paper towel tube, cardboard tube, and you bend it, it's going to buckle. But if you have one of those straws that have corrugations on it, you can bend the thing forever and it bends without distortion or deformation. You don't need a stiff tongue at all anymore because the new skis are so good and so easy to turn that all you have to do is to crank a turn is lean over to the side, so to speak. You don't have to drive it and load up the tip as in the old days. The requirements of a ski boot have changed, and yet the full tilt boot provides those very requirements, which is very gratifying.
The flex with this, it's bar none, the best. It's what keeps me from getting boot bang. It keeps me from not ending my day when I jump a huge cliff. I ski for the rest of the day. If I was in a 4-buckle boot, I've been there, done that, that's the end of the trip. Have to go home.
In a buckle boot or a 4-buckle overlap, when you overbuckle that boot, you're basically over distorting everything. And even though it works like a cylinder like this, you can still overbuckle it and cause pressure points and uneven surfaces around your foot.
This system uses basically no wrapping, and then it uses a series of cables. By using cables in this tongue system, what it allows is the boot to deform uniformly and not load up.
Yeah, this has a free-moving cuff, whereas like on a lot of like those overlap boots, people have them riveted, so then it's just the flex stops. You know, it's just mostly the plastic flexing. There's no cuff movement.
What you can do is actually grab the calf and get a very firmly held calf, but you can still allows you to flex forward.
The greatest part about the tongues on these boots is they're interchangeable. It's just a little clip that you just spread apart. You can go stiff, you can go soft. So like if you're a racer and you want a stiff boot, you can throw in a stiff tongue. If you're a freestyler or a jib kid and you're hitting jumps and you want something soft, you know, and or if it's hot, you want to throw in something stiff because you're at Mountain Hood, boom, you just really quickly swap them out. So you have the interchangeability of doing that, where other boots, it's like if you want to do that, you got to cut something and compromise the whole integrity of the boot for the rest of the life of the boot. That easy. Open your boot up, spread these things. If I didn't have a broken hand, it'd be a little faster. That's it. Out. Yeah, you can use a screwdriver or your hands. Boom, in. Looks like you got a new boot. That easy.
Essentially, you've got the lightest boot on the market by pounds. We're talking like not 1 pound, not half a pound. We're talking like 2 or 3 pounds.
The overall reduced weight is you got a lot faster foot movement. It's just the first thing I notice is when I get in another boot, it's like, wow, these are real sluggish and slow. I always hear people like pinching their feet getting in and out of their boots, or like they go snow camping and or you can leave your boots in the car and they're frozen and you can't get your feet in, you got to go in the lodge. Well, these, you just flip it open and you're in.
It's naturally a boot that you're standing more neutral in. And when you're standing more neutral in your boot, you're requiring less effort of your leg muscles and your back muscles and your core muscles.
When you look at a basketball shoe and a person playing basketball, you don't see them wearing high heels.
You get a better feel for the snow because you're lower to the ground, lower on the ski.
It's the most natural flex, it's the most natural stance, it's the correct position to be in on your skis.
A satisfying result of all the work that everybody did on this boot was and is the versatility. You could have kids, you could have young people, you could have old people, you could have a 50-year-old woman that had never skied before. You had aerialists, you had freestyle, mogul skiers. Very different requirements, and you had the same boot.
If these boots weren't around, if I ran out or my house burnt down and all my stock there was gone, then I'd pretty much be done skiing. Or I could go skiing, but I couldn't go jumping around like I do because I'd have to ski in something that doesn't perform to the standards that I need it to perform at. So I'd have to take a big step down being out of these boots. And there's been a lot of other people that have skied in this boot but moved away from it, mostly just because of the money, and I'm not here doing it for the money. I'm doing it because it works for me.